I want to give you 5 of what we might call the biggies. These 5 are critically important. These 5 are practiced by all men and women who are highly successful, and these 5 can be easily learned by you. And when you learn them, you'll develop self-confidence to a level you'll be unafraid to tackle anything. Here's the first. Top of the list, most important of all, is to dream big dreams. I can't tell you how important this is. In every study that I've looked at of successful men and women, you find that often they go on for years and years, and then they begin to dream. They actually begin to fantasize. They begin to say, why not me? If he or she could do it, why can't I accomplish it?
But I think people can choose to be not ordinary. You know, they can choose to not necessarily conform to the conventions that were taught to them by their parents. Yes, I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. I think also just don't be afraid of new arenas. It's really a mindset. You have to decide, we're going to try to do things differently. But I think you just have to sort of decide, let's think beyond the normal stuff.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
So dream big dreams, and you can fulfill your dreams. All the great movers and shakers throughout all of history have been dreamers. They've been people with dreams. They've been people with visions. All leaders have vision. In the book of Solomon, it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And when you see men and women who rise from poverty and obscurity to fame and renown, you invariably see someone who had a vision of what they could be and have and do that was far beyond what they were. Every one of us has had an experience. At one time when we were small, we had a vision of being grown up and having our own cars. And as we grew older, we had a vision of having our own homes and our own families. And as we grew older, we had a vision of traveling and going to Europe. We fulfill all our visions. The wonderful thing is this, is that we always tend to achieve our goals. The problem is that our goals are set so low that even when we do achieve them, they don't turn us on. They don't fill us with enthusiasm. So dream big dreams.
The most sophisticated and intelligent and knowledgeable and successful men and women in our society dream all the time. They take courses in how to let their minds float free. So the starting point of learning how to dream is very simple. It's so powerful and practical, it'll blow you away. It's called a dream list. Now, a dream list is a phenomenal little thing. It's a list of your dreams. What does it mean? It means you ask yourself, what would I dream of if I had no limitations? And this is the key. Remember, the limitations that you have or that you think you have are the greatest obstacles to your success. In reality, your limitations exist mostly in your own mind. They don't exist in reality. Now, a dream list is this. Take a piece of paper in front of you and imagine that you had all the money and all the time. You had all the contacts and all the resources. You had no limitations in terms of knowledge and skill and talent and ability. Anything that you could be, have, or do was possible for you, and say, if I had no limitations, what would I really want in my life? Today, tomorrow, next week, next year, 5 years, and so on. And write it down, write it down, write it down. Write as fast as you can. Write everything that you can imagine. And remember, decide what's right. Decide what you really want before you stop to analyze and determine what's possible. Allow yourself to dream. And when you start to dream, what we have found is this, is your self-concept actually improves. Your self-image gets better. You actually see yourself in better terms because you're allowing yourself to think of yourself as the kind of person who can accomplish things by the very act of dreaming. You also find that your self-esteem goes up. You like yourself better. You respect yourself more. You feel happier and more confident about yourself as you begin to dream and fantasize and just play with what is possible for you. Here's a great technique for dreaming. After you've done your dream list, stop and visualize and engage in what we call back from the future thinking. Now, these techniques, by the way, I wish I could say I invented. They're just used by the most successful and the happiest and the most wealthy people in our society. And back from the future thinking is something that comes in interviews. You find that they practice it all the time, although many times they don't describe it or even identify it. It's imagine that this is you here, and up here is your goal, your star, your dream, maybe 5 or 10 years away. And what you do is you project yourself forward, almost as if in a trajectory in a rocket. You project yourself forward into the future, to the future, like you're standing on top of a mountain, and then you look all the way back down to where you are today and say, here's where I am today. And you look down and you say, there's where you are right now. And from this vantage point of being 5 years in the future, you ask yourself, what would I have to do to get from there to get up to the top of this mountain? What path would I have to follow to accomplish my goals? Seeing where I am now, seeing where I want to be today, what could I see to do? This is a really neat technique. I can tell you, I've tried it myself. And when you reverse it and look back from the future, you actually see things that you can do and will have to do, steps that you'll have to take, like climbing up a mountain or looking at the mountain from the top rather than the bottom. You'll see things that you cannot see from the mental vantage point of looking from the bottom up. Now, in addition to this, there's another method of thinking. It's called blue sky thinking. Blue sky thinking has been identified as a peak performance quality or characteristic. Blue sky thinking is where you allow yourself to float. You imagine that you have the whole blue sky above you. You imagine that you have no limitations. It's almost like you're floating through space, and you imagine that everything is possible. A little bit like a dream list, if you like. But it's a very powerful way of throwing off limitations and saying, if we were starting over, if we could do and be and have anything, if we had no previous constraints, if we hadn't committed ourselves or our resources in this direction or that direction, if we could do anything, what would we do? This is the basis, by the way, of reinventing corporations, and it's very much the basis of reinventing your life. Imagine if you were starting your life over today, and you could do or be or have anything, and you could have no limitations or constraints at all. What would you choose to do? Let your mind float freely. And remember, the ability to fantasize and to imagine and to play with ideas is the mark of the superior mind, the superior mentality. All the great geniuses of history, by the way, have been studied, and you know what they find? They have the characteristic of allowing themselves to think like children, to play with ideas almost like they were little children, and to fantasize with them almost as if they were completely innocent. So therefore, when you begin to fantasize with fun ideas, you start to move into the ranks of the best thinkers in history. The final point with dreaming big dreams has to do with clarity. We talk about clarity all the time, and you need clarity in one special area. You need clarity with regard to your ideals. You need clarity with regard to your values. You need clarity with regard to your goals. And the more clear you are about who you are and what you believe in and what you care about and what is important to you, the more likely it is that you'll move rapidly to their accomplishment. There have been hundreds of biographies and autobiographies that have been written by men and women and about men and women who've accomplished great things. And what they found is that they all have one thing in common. They develop a sense or a belief deep down inside that their life stands for something important, that it means something, that they're here to do something really special with their lives. And everything they look at, they say, is this part of the unique and special reason that I've been put on this earth? Life is God's gift to man, and what you do with it is your gift to God. So why are you here? What are you supposed to do? What is your dream? Now, the second key to great success, practiced by all high achievers, is to develop your special talents. You see, every person comes into the world unique. Wayne Dyer has a wonderful line. He says, every child is born with secret orders. In other words, you've been brought into this world to do something remarkable with your life. And the only question is, are you going to do it? You know, the great tragedy is that only about 5%, maybe 1% of people ever fulfill the potential that was given to them when they were born. So here's a good question to ask yourself. What do you most enjoy? You see, Just like we are given physical health as an indicator to help us to avoid physical disease, we're given happiness as a way to tell us what is right for us. The smartest men and women of all are those who listen to their inner voice and look at what it is they most enjoy doing and organize their lives so that they do more and more of those things. So if you want to discover your unique talents and abilities, you ask yourself, what do you most enjoy? What do you most enjoy doing? What makes you the happiest when you're doing it? Here's another great question for you. What would you do if you won $1 million in the lottery today? And you got the $1 million cash tax-free. Let's say you got the $1 million and the person said, well, in order to give you the money, you're going to have to tell us exactly what you would do with your life with $1 million. And you had to quickly think that if I win this $1 million, this is what I'd do. This is a very powerful question, because if your first answer is that you'd quit your job, it means you may be in the wrong work. It may mean that you are in danger of wasting your life. But it could be that you would say, I would do this more, I would do it better, I would change, I would start this, I would get into that, get out of that. What would you do if you won $1 million? That'll often tell you where your natural talents and abilities lie. Now, the final question is, what sort of activities give you your greatest feeling of importance? What give you your greatest feeling of importance? When you're engaging in these activities, you feel terrific about yourself. You feel happy about yourself. You feel important. Your self-esteem goes up. You feel in command and control of your life. Dale Carnegie once said, you tell me what gives a person their greatest feeling of importance, and I'll tell you their entire philosophy of life. I'll tell you, if you tell me what gives you your greatest feeling of importance, I'll tell you what you should probably be doing with your life, or at least the general area. Well, here's the third key to great success, is to accept 100% responsibility for your results.
We do not look to other people as the solutions for our problems. And what we do is, Henry Ford said, never complain, never explain. In other words, if you're not happy with something, change it, but don't complain about it. Complaining is a sign of weakness, but it's also a sign of victimhood. A person who complains is saying, basically, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Somebody was talking to the actor who plays Aaron in 24. I had lunch with him on Tuesday with Nathaniel Brandon. He was saying, and he's become a speaker as well, he's saying you can always tell when people have their lives out of control when they talk about what things that are being done to them. He did this to me. She did that to me. They did this to me. The company did this to me. He said they're always saying, I'm a victim. I'm weak. I'm little. I'm ineffectual. I'm a child. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Please feel sorry for me. And what this does is that it guts your self-esteem. It just takes away all your motivation and all your self-confidence. So even the choice of words can be very bad. The reason that people don't succeed is because they have excuses. You cannot imagine a leader weeping, whining, crying, and making excuses. As Mark Twain said, there are 1,000 excuses for failure, but never a good reason. So one of the things we do is there's no more excuses. Either do it or don't do it. Get in or get out, but I don't make excuses. You can only give away control. You cannot give away responsibility. You remain responsible for yourself for your entire adult life. You can give away control by trying to make someone else responsible for your life, and you do, and then you wait for them to tell you what to do or what not to do, or to give you a raise or to promote you or demote you or hire you or something else. Or you can accept responsibility. And accepting responsibility is mandatory. You cannot go any further. You are literally blocked in place, almost like there's a wall in front of you, until you accept responsibility and make the leap and never make another excuse. So we say that the word responsibility can be broken down into two words, response and ability. It is your ability to respond. Well, in our life, every time we respond effectively to a challenge, we grow and become stronger. And we become more tenacious, and we become more confident, and we become more powerful. So the only thing that we can be sure of is challenges. Your life will be one series of challenges after another. They will never stop. They will come like the waves from the ocean, problem after problem after problem. The only question is, can we respond effectively? And if you do, you continue to grow. As soon as we stop responding effectively to the challenges of outside life, what happens is we begin to implode. So whenever you have a challenge, remember, you just say, well, here we go again. This is what I do. I respond effectively to challenges. And the wonderful thing is, and I learned this in the metaphysics, make the decision that no matter what happens, you will respond effectively. And pre-program yourself, so no matter what happens, I respond effectively.
No matter what problem I have in life, I take charge of it, I accept responsibility, and I respond effectively. If you make that decision in advance, then when the problem occurs, it's almost like they push the automatic button, you're already set, and you respond effectively. You don't even have to think, what should I do in this situation? You just respond in an effective way. You don't get upset or angry or weep or cry or lash out at other people. What you do is you say, it's a problem, so we respond effectively. What do we do from here? Very, very important. This attitude is the attitude of the leader.
Now, the fourth great key is single-minded concentration.
Concentration. I think that the ability to focus and concentration are the two keys to success in life. That the ability to focus clearly and know exactly what it is you want to accomplish, and the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on accomplishing that one thing without diversion or distraction are the keys to success. It's the number one key to effectiveness, is to be able to sit down and look at your work and use the 80-20 rule. Say to yourself, which is the 20% of the number of things that I have to do that account for 80% of the value of my work? And always work on the top 20%. You see, in life, there's never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the important things. Instead of doing what is fun and easy, which is what most people do, you know what they do? They make a list of everything they have to do, and then they start at the bottom of the list and they work on the irrelevant things. At the end of the day, they haven't got anything done. Successful people, peak performers, concentrate on the top items. And remember, anything other than working on the top items on your list is a waste of your time. And time management is not just time management is life management. You can do anything you want with your life if you'll manage your time properly. We all have the same 24 hours a day, and the ability to concentrate, to discipline yourself, to use willpower and perseverance to concentrate on one thing at a time is a quality of all success. Nothing great has ever been accomplished without the ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time. Always concentrate on the best use of your time. Here is my favorite time management question, which I give to you for free. It's simply this. Before you start anything, ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Make a list and say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you get into your car, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? When you leave the house or leave the office, say, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Ask yourself that question over and over and over again. Repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until it's driven into the subconscious mind as a command. And whenever you have a temptation to do something that is small and irrelevant, that command will go, blam, what is the most valuable use of your time right now? And you, whoo, and it'll push you into doing what is the most valuable use of your time. And whenever you're working on the most valuable use of your time, you feel great. You get concentrated effort is a source of energy and enthusiasm. It makes you feel wonderful when you're working on something important, and it makes you feel nothing when you're working on something irrelevant.
And finally, number 5, it's to do what you love to do. In interview after interview with the highest performing, most successful people in America, self-made millionaires, great stars, great talents, they never worked a day in their life. They always did what they loved to do. You know, people come to me all the time and they ask an interesting question. They say, how do I get motivated? You know, I want to get motivated. How do I get my son motivated, my daughter motivated, my spouse motivated? I'll tell you something, you can't motivate people. Motivation requires motive, and motive requires desire. And desire requires the person wanting to do it, and wanting to do it because they love not only the possible result, but they love the very act of doing it. You and I as adults, and as grown children, have certain responsibilities. And one of our key responsibilities as an adult is to decide what we most enjoy doing. In fact, one of our responsibilities is to ask, what is it that I enjoy doing the most, and how can I get a well-paying job doing just that? How can I organize my life? What kind of training can I get? What kind of courses can I take? What kind of schools can I go to? Who can I ask? What books can I read? So that I can become really good doing what I really enjoy and get paid really well doing it. And I can tell you story after story after story of men and women who said, oh yeah, but if I did what I love to do, I wouldn't make any money. Nonsense. If you do what you love to do, you'll be supremely happy, you'll be supremely successful, and you'll be extremely respected in your field, and that's worth more than an awful lot of money. Finally, the third part of determining what it is you love to do are the words attention, interest, and absorption. If you really love what you're doing, it will hold your attention. You'll draw your attention. You'll want to read about it and talk about it and think about it. You'll want to be around people, and you'll look up to and admire people who are successful in it. There'll be something in you that causes you to look at those people because it's the right thing for you. You'll be interested in it. You'll like to read about it and learn about it. You'll like to study about it. In fact, one of the true marks of whether or not you're in the right field is this. If you're in the right field, you'll have an insatiable desire to learn more about it, to study the field. And the final word is absorption. Attention plus interest equals absorption. You will find that if you're in the right field, you'll be absorbed by it. You'll be so absorbed by it, you'll often forget what time it is. In fact, you will find that here's the test. When you're doing what you are meant to do, time stands still. Sometimes you forget to eat. You forget to rest. You forget to sleep. You are so involved and committed to it that time stands still. What sort of activities over the course of your life, from the time you were young to the time you're older, people had to say, come for dinner, or aren't you finished with that yet, or leave it alone and get back to it later, and you didn't want to get away. That could be the key to the great success that you're here to accomplish.